Alright, into Danger Pack for a double feature of runs. And this first one is actually quite different to some of my normal uploads, and you'll see why in a little while. But we get triple Babirusa to begin with, although one of them's still waiting in the shop. And I spend the other 3 gold on the banana to get the transformation into an ant. Still pretty unlikely that you're going to win or tie on turn 1 there, I think, especially when you get matched with Barghest. Probably going to be a similar story here because we're going to give them a bunch of health or a bunch of stats, yep. So it is a tie this time, which means we recover our 1 heart. And then we get double Saola in this shop. And I decided to do something a bit unconventional. And I mentioned already that this is a little bit unusual for what I upload. But this is probably not unusual in terms of how I play. So I do this kind of thing all the time, but generally speaking, these runs do not end up producing videos because I'm just, because what I'm doing is so suboptimal that it really has no realistic chance of winning. But it is also fun to experiment, and so what we're going to do here is we're just going to play these tier 2 scalers and then grab some other units later on once we have a ridiculous amount of health and only 1 attack. So I was thinking about the Pygmy Hog here, but it doesn't make sense because it's going to leech the scaling. The Pygmy Hog resets its stats when it transforms, so any health buffs that go to it would be completely wasted. Obviously, we're just going to lose all of these early turns until we get some kind of a pet that is going to benefit from the 1 attack on so many units. And I think here I'm just going to start combining them. We do get another scaler, but I decide not to go for it. I'm just going to keep putting health onto the biggest one at the front. If we could just buy Meatbone from the shop, this probably would have had a better chance of actually getting some victories in the early turns. But because I didn't want to take any other units, like if I take the Heron, it's going to immediately start taking buffs from these units, whereas I really just wanted to have a bunch of 1 attacks and then something at the back to take advantage of it. So we find the Pygmy Hippo, immediately get it up to 15, and hopefully it's going to be able to do some good damage. Yeah, 5 damage snipe is pretty good. Although I'm not sure if it's going to be good enough here. No, definitely not. So that puts us down to 1 heart, turn 7, 0 wins. But the run's not quite over yet because we end up getting the Eye. So 8 enemy attacks, summon 2 lemurs and give all friends +3 attack and +3 health. One of my favourite new units for sure, and I've definitely used it in a lot of runs, although many of them have failed miserably. It is actually kind of funny to me that there's an animal called an Eye, because if you say Eye in Scotland, it just means hello. Maybe that's common knowledge, I don't know, but it's still amusing to me. So now we have the 2 units at the back, which are both going to benefit from the large number of attacks. Of course, with this setup, our attack is so low on the units at the back that we really need a bit of a miracle to get through any particular round. And there we tied with exactly the right amount of health, I think it was. So I'm just going to feed attack to the Hippo. Now that attack is all going to get removed by the scalers. However, it will also guarantee that the Hippo takes the buffs. I think probably here I could have put maple syrup on these units at the front. Maybe that would have been better. Obviously the tomato perks are terrible at this point because we have loads of health. But yeah, you can see here we can still scrape some kind of result from a battle as we actually beat that team despite having basically 0 attack. Yeah, so I think it would have been good here if I had taken maple syrup. I'm kind of conditioned at this point not to take maple syrup because I think it's pretty bad. But we can take some summoning perks, so we get the Easter egg and the Codro as well. Now we're back down to only having 5 total attack. And yeah, I think we basically need 7 or 8 miracle matchups in a row to get anywhere near the end game here. But look at this. We get a bunch of extra attacks. And so we do summon the lemurs. And then the hippo has so much health that it annihilates the last 2 units on their team. So yeah, just rolling here for the II level up and then any other summoning perks. And I think probably I'm willing to take Melon to protect the hippo. Obviously it's curtains if the hippo gets its health reduced. Here's a parrot blowfish hedgehog team. We're barely going to get the II activation. And then I think, is the hippo going to get a chance to shoot here? Yeah, actually the hippo having the golden egg there actually denied us an attack trigger. So we need to replace that golden egg as soon as possible. Although it seems like, yeah, okay, that was a mistake. I should have just put the melon on the hippo. Although I guess actually protecting the II is probably more important. But I just like seeing the high damage snipes. And here's another Danger Pack team with a level 3 Saula on their side. And then they also have the green sea turtle, which gives everything melon. But look at this. The hippo kills the rhino and the green sea turtle. And then the golden egg breaks the melon for the victory. So absolutely ridiculous round there. Turn 13, we only have 1 attack on everything. And I guess we're about to have 1 attack on the Saula at the front as well. Or maybe not quite. Yeah, because I guess it can't buff itself. So 4 attack and 2 on the II. And then unfortunately on turn 13, we finally face a triple scalar squad. Or I guess really it's a quad scalar because gold pets are essentially scalars. And so we lose. But been a long time since I've uploaded a 5 trophy run on this channel. Alright, on to run 2, and I can promise this one is not going to be 5 trophies. I feel like that last run, there were just too many fun rounds or surprising rounds to leave it on the cutting room floor. Maybe I'll start doing that a bit more often, where we look at some really crazy rounds in runs that never realistically had a chance of getting to 10. So yeah, the common thread with these runs is that we're going to go for another II game. I can't remember exactly what I was doing here, if I was going for something specific, probably not. Generally, like, even though Danger Pack hasn't been out that long, I'm still following the pattern of buying my favourite units. So we've got Takushi and then also the Taki at the back. There's actually quite a few units in this that have similar names, which makes it a bit more difficult to keep track of. So of course I'm playing against all packs as I normally do in Arena. And yeah, hopefully we're going to end up with some units on our squad that are not from Danger Pack, courtesy of Red Panda. So I'm going to take the Vanilla Bean to scale up the Bonobo and the Dolphin, although I think I'm going to end up abandoning this particular build pretty soon. And we're going to take advantage of the bug with Bonobo, where at the moment you can play it at the front, and then every turn it will turn into itself, which basically means you can save the transformation up for further down the line and instantly transform into one of the higher tier units. I mean, even if there wasn't a bug, you would be able to do that by freezing stuff in the shop, but playing it at the front of your team just allows you to keep your shop open and potentially find more bonobos. So because we know we're going to turn the bonobo into something else, I can just buy some stat food on it, and then it will be in a better position to upgrade into a stronger unit. Fairly weak looking unicorn jump team here, and I think the African Wild Dog is going to finish off the Mana Hound. Always good to preserve hearts when you're going to go for some kind of pivot with Red Panda and or Bonobo. So we take the Red Panda, and not the greatest selection. Unfortunately, there are some options like Puma that I don't think you can really do anything with at all. I guess, like, if you got one of the toy pets, you wouldn't be able to trigger its buy ability anyway. Yeah, there's no way to get Waffle. I guess the only way you could do it would be to get like a Catfish from a second Red Panda. That would be crazy if someone could get a run like that. But in the end, I decided to take the Boxfish since it's the only ability that seems like we could actually use it. And then we immediately face a pack 1 team where it does get to go off. However, we're still going to lose. Not quite enough attacks for the II, although it was level 1 anyway, so we didn't really have a chance. So now we've got level 2 boxfish. I think maybe I'm going to keep them separate to begin with, or maybe I'll just combine them now. Okay, combine them, and then we'll bring in the Baycat, probably freeze the blue whale and hope for a chickpea. Or maybe not. Doesn't look like I'm going to. Okay. Not like me. Okay, that's the reason. We're greeding for more red pandas. So you could definitely attempt a challenge in this pack where you try and play with only units from outside the pack. I've definitely done that in Star Pack before. Maybe, I don't know, would it be a bit harder here or not? I guess the thing is that you can get some of the top scalers from Red Panda, so in theory it should be easier. But at the same time, Star Pack has Starfish, so yeah, maybe not a fair comparison. So we'll go for another Red Panda loot box. We get offered 3 more interesting options. I don't want to take the Sumatran Tiger since it's not outside the pack, and we'll end up going with Phoenix instead. And that means that we can start loading up on White Ochre, which is going to defend automatically from the Phoenix Flames. So we'll just put it up at the front because we're less concerned if it actually hits our own team. Opposing jump team immediately one-shots one of our units straight through Ochre. That is one of the downsides to Ochre compared to Melon. I'm not sure in that particular round if we would have survived with Melon or not. But since it only blocks 10 damage, you are much more likely to get one shot straight through it. But I guess that's the price you have to pay for the upgraded protection. So yeah, we'll take Judean Date, definitely put Stake on the Phoenix since it has such a poor starting stat line. Even though the Red Panda does show the base stats of the other units, when you're choosing between them, it will spawn with the Red Panda's stats. So unfortunately, it was only a 4/4 to begin with. You can definitely improve that though if you use, what's the food called? The vanilla bean. But here, because the Aya gets to trigger, we barely scrape a win. So upgraded Phoenix now means that we're much more likely to put ailments onto the opponent. But I think I probably will still just go for the full board of White Ochre to make sure that none of our pets get it. Now here the Boxfish does. I think here, yeah, we do snipe we managed to snipe the Sabertooth there, which meant that one of the mammoths got wasted. And I think that might have actually got us the win there. I could be wrong. So there's another White Ochre. Definitely put that on the Baycat, especially since it has low enough health that it will get instant killed by Crisp. Now we've got full ailment protection, and we face this very, very strong looking Chimera plus Kitsune team. 39 mana, but we have a Boxfish, so they immediately drop down to only having 2 20/20s behind the largest unit. And then the Lemurs plus the African Wild Dog are going to get us the win. I felt like that I was done for there when I saw that Chimera team, but then of course the Boxfish to the rescue. So we might as well go for level 3. I don't know if I have level 3 Boxfish achievement. That's why I went for it instead of the Baycat level up. Maybe I do already have it, I don't know. But then lastly here we want a high statted opponent and it gives us German Shepherd. However, they do get Warthog, and the Crisp deletes the Wolf, which pushes the Falcon to the front and prevents them getting any summons. Meanwhile, the German Shepherd was taken down to 20 attack by the Boxfish, although at that point they had no summons left anyway. Still a pretty fun game, courtesy once again of Red Panda.